Mm-hmm. 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 Come on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ah.
This is PZ Music.
Welcome to Backdoor Bills Talk. I'm your host, Tommy, filling in for Jason, who is getting married this weekend, and that is why I am here hosting. And I do have a special guest with me, Jarek from Jance Sports. What's going on, Jarek, man?
Nothing much, man. I'm just trying to recover from this Bama loss tonight. I am just devastated because I never thought I would experience another Bills-Chiefs game. And it happened tonight. And this time it was actually worse than what it was last time. So I'm hoping tomorrow they don't experience it because I'm gonna lose my mind.
I'll be honest, I don't even look at Alabama scores on the weekend because I just assume you guys are going to win. So I don't even check. Like I'm just like, oh, it's like a pointless thing for me to even look. So when you told me tonight before we went on that you guys lost, I was like, what? But you were on the road against a tough team. I didn't know they were that 6-0.
Yeah, they're good.
Yes, Scott, I am a legend.
Man. And I'm telling you, man, they got receivers that we got to take a look at. They got some dudes that we got to take a look at in that draft. I'm telling you, if we can't get Odell Beckham Jr., we might have to. They got dudes, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just tough.
Bro, I don't know how I really honestly I don't know how being a Bama fan, I know we're talking about college. I almost feel like it's like back in like, you know, for Patriots fans when everything was going so awesome. And you're just so used to winning. And when something like this happens, it's like I don't know, man. How do you take it? Like I'm just curious, like how
not only did you lose, you lost against your rival. So you lost against Tennessee hasn't beaten Alabama in 16 years. What happens is that every time, whether if it's Tennessee who wins or Alabama wins, the winner of the game smokes a cigar. So you can only imagine Tennessee fans jam-packing on the field because they're just rushing the field. It's 110,000 people there, and they're all smoking. They're now all smoking cigars.
Right.
So I got a friend. He's a Tennessee fan. He FaceTimed me before I joined on here. He was smoking a cigar and cheering and. It's what you got to hear. It's you know it's rough. It's the equivalent. I'm trying to think of it because I can't. It's like the equivalent of losing to Dallas. I'll say that because the Cowboys have the most obnoxious, annoying fan base I think in the NFL. It's like losing to Cowboys fans and then you have to hear it all year round. On a Sunday night, you're up by like Sunday night. You're clear. I mean, you should have probably blown the team out, but I don't know. It's hard to it's hard to describe. I'm not really mad. I was more mad last week when we beat A&M, but it's rough. It's gonna be a rough week, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I for everyone that don't know, if you haven't already, Jance Sports on YouTube. It's a great channel. He covers Alabama football and obviously our Buffalo Bills. So go subscribe today. And yeah, man, Jarek is top notch, man. He's been on my channel a few times, so appreciate him coming on tonight as a special guest. We do have our co-host, Sonny, who I have no idea what is going on. He lives in Alaska. I'm gonna kick you out, Sonny, and try to come back in. I have no idea what's going on with Sonny. But guys, listen, he's from Alaska and their internet's probably not the greatest, and it's probably freezing cold, and who knows how that So I tried. I tried. We'll see if Sonny makes a comeback here. I have no idea where he's at. But anyways, let's get to this Buffalo Bills game. Bills versus Chiefs. Jarek, we know what happened the last time we faced the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. The 13 seconds you mentioned it was not a good ending for our Buffalo Bills. Very disappointing. I don't know if I even talked to you about that game. If we ever really talked after.
I was probably breaking something. Dude. Something.
I spent Alaska going through a heat wave. It's minus 20. Yeah, he's sweating over there. Dude, that game was like such a roller coaster, bro, for me. And it sucked because I go live every post game. So I was dreading that, and I went live. It was so tough, dude, because I had lost my voice, and I remember I was like barely talking. And I am one of those fans, no matter what sport, like until that clock says 0, like I am just not satisfied that we got the win. You know what I mean? Like, and plus being a Buffalo Bills fan, we're used to that stuff happening. You know what I mean? Yep. Tennessee, for instance, right? Like it's just like never, like it just never. It never goes our way. It feels like, all right, being Bills fans. And I remember, I think the one thing I said was like, God, you couldn't just give me this. Like you couldn't just let me have this moment. Dude,
can I see a conference championship game at home for once in my lifetime, please?
Yeah, dude. I was just like, and I remember I was getting text from people, and I was just like, I didn't even reply back because I was just like, I can't, like, it's just the back of my mind. It's not over. And sure enough, man, God damn it. But anyways, we are here now. And what Brandon Beane did in the offseason was something I felt like he didn't do in the offseason the previous season, that, of 2021, which was, okay, we know we're going to wind up playing the Chiefs, which we did. And we need to do this in order to beat the Chiefs. And I don't think he did that in 2021. I felt like we got back Mongo, Darrell Williams, but we didn't really improve our D-line. Like it was the same defensive line. And then once Trey got hurt against the Saints, it was a total different game than when we played them that in the regular season, where we were more physical at the line. Levi Wallace just couldn't. Without Trey, he was totally lost back there. We had to give him too much cushion. And I felt like Brandon Beane in the offseason knew that won't work again, right? Like you cannot go into this season with the same D-line, which was terrible against the run, which was constantly getting pushed around by offensive linemen. And we also drafted a corner in the first round, and we got lucky, and we drafted another corner in Christian Benford, who's turned out to be solid. Kind of got lucky there, I'll be honest with you. And then Dane Jackson has been really good, I got to be honest too. And Trey White is coming back. Obviously not this weekend. I have a feeling, by the way, Trey White will be back I'm going to say week 9 or 10. What do you think on the Trey White? He's just now back at practice.
Okay, I thought he was playing this week. Is he not? He's not ready?
Trey White? No. Trey White is he's in he got on the practice field, but he's in a red non-contact jersey. But it's good to see, because if he didn't, let's say he didn't get practice this week, heading into the bye week, week 7, he wasn't going to. Obviously, they're not practicing during the bye week. Then you got week 8, would have been his red contact probably. So he wasn't going to play week 8. So I'm thinking week 9 now. I'm going to say week 9, he'll probably be ready, unless there's setbacks, which is fine. But week 8, we play Green Bay at home. I don't think he'll be there. I'm sorry, week 9. I don't think he'll, or week 8. Is it week 8, Jarek, that we play Green Bay? I think it's week 8. We have the bye week in week 7. So yeah, week 8, we come back and play Green Bay at home, which is the 30th, I believe, on Sunday. Sunday, was it Sunday Night Football, I believe? Okay.
Sunday Night Football.
So,
I'll be there.
So I don't think he'll play that game, but I could be wrong. Maybe he does play. Trey White has 3 weeks until he has to be activated. He's going to be activated. I think that's why they winded up putting him on the practice field this week, just to start getting him going. Because if he didn't, he would have probably been a little bit more of a setback, like week 10, week 11, something like that. But I'm still saying week 9. I'm going to go around week 9. I don't think he'll play the Green Bay game. I could be wrong. But anyways, so do you think the Buffalo Bills, Brandon Beane, did enough to finally get them over that hump versus KC if we see them again, let's say in the playoffs? Because we all know this is a regular season game. So even if we win, this doesn't really –
No.
It means something, but it doesn't mean much in the long run until we beat them where it really counts. So, but do you think what they did in the offseason was enough maybe to finally get over that hump when it comes time in the playoffs if we face them?
I think so. And it's not even because we got Von Miller, it's because we got Jordan Phillips. We did not have any interior pressure at all from last year. And that's something that we've been missing. But really the last couple of years was having consistent interior pressure. We missed any sort of disruption. We could not get any pressure at all from our interior. And that's what Jordan Phillips was a valuable commodity when he was here back in 2019, because he opened up opportunities for Ed Oliver, for Star Lotulelei when he was playing at nose guard, for other guys, for a whole bunch of other guys there, including Justin Zimmer, when we brought him up from the practice squad and he was in there, and we brought some others that came. Jordan Phillips was the guy that demanded double teams because he was almost impossible to block on 1v1 situations. So, the fact that we got Jordan Phillips on such a cheap deal, when we all know that after this year, he's going to get another pretty big contract, whether if it's from us or maybe it's going to be from somebody else. I thought that was a great deal by Brandon Beane. It was getting interior pressure. Because even though we got Von Miller and he's played pretty solid, I don't think he's played spectacular. I mean, he's only got 4 sacks. If you look at his pressure rate, it's not really the best. I mean, if we compare his numbers to Jerry Hughes is honestly having a little bit of a better season with the Texans right now than Von Miller. But Von Miller is making his presence felt. But it is the development of other players like a Gregory Rousseau, who's definitely stepped his game up compared to last year. Right. We now have depth now. Tim Settle's been making some plays.
Yep.
Daquan Jones has been a viable commodity in the run game, which we thought he was. We now have depth on our defensive line, and that's something that we've been missing the last couple of years. So Von Miller was just kind of that added touch to it. Now, if you can just get production from Rousseau, if you can get production from Boogie Basham, if AJ Epinesa could start to get going a little bit now going into his 3rd year, that's going to really help, because now, you see what we're doing now, we're rotating. So we're consistently rotating now with our defense, keeping them fresh. And that's something that honestly we just did not have over the last couple of years going against KC.
Yep. Hey, look who it is. It's Sonny from Alaska. Uh-oh. We're getting that Alaska internet. Sonny.
Hey.
There you go. I was about to say we're going to have to start sending you telegrams. Oh, no, he froze. He said we're going to have to do the telegram thing for Sonny. Poor Sonny. It's Alaska, guys. This is the way it works. Sonny, get your internet right. I'm going to keep on the side until I see you moving around, because he is frozen in time. Literally frozen in time.
Like the Matrix.
But, yeah, so let me go back to what you were talking about, the D-line. So, by the way, love Jordan Phillips. That is my dude, man. If I have my favorite players, he's not my favorite on the Bills, but man, he is up. He is really up there. I really love his energy. I love what he brings to the Buffalo Bills. He is a playmaker when he's on the field, when he's healthy. I just right now he's not. I don't think he's going to play this Sunday. But if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I am resting him for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, at least, until his hamstring is 100. Because I felt like last week we put him out there and you could tell he was not. It was bothering him pretty much the whole game. You could tell he wasn't getting the push, right? You could tell his leg was, he just didn't look right out there. And hamstrings are tricky, very tricky. So listen, like you were saying, we have depth now. You don't need to rush Jordan Phillips back. Ed Oliver's back now, right? Ed Oliver looks like he's close to 100%, which was huge. right? We all know Ed Oliver was the starter anyways. Jordan Phillips was a rotational guy. That's okay. Shaq Lawson is good. He comes in as well on the edge. AJ Epinesa, Boogie Basham. We have depth now. Daquan Jones, by the way, is, man, really playing good. It's just he's the kind of guy that moves the pile and creates space for like Ed Oliver and the other guys to do their business. The run defense it's like night and day from last season. Night and day. Teams cannot run on the Buffalo Bills now. It's not going to happen. We're just too big. On the D line, and fast, by the way, to the edges. So,
yeah.
Though you said Von Miller hasn't, and I kind of agree with you a little bit. The stats wise isn't like what you would think, but I knew that was going to be the case. It's an older Von Miller. We know this. There's no surprise with that. However, he is he still has the speed to get to the outside. He still can make plays happen. And he still can cause havoc where some teams, some offensive lines have to watch him more. They have to double him more. He also brings the knowledge to, like you said, Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver, AJ Epinesa, Boogie Bat. So I think it was more so that he brings like the total package as far as knowledge and play on the field as well. He's not what he once was on the field, but knowledge, oh man, he's probably even better than he ever was because he knows offensive lines. He's been doing this at a high rate for a long time. So getting Von Miller was huge for the Buffalo Bills. And not only that, just their team buys in. They are sold. All the defensive players, even offense, love Von Miller. They love what he brings. Yeah. They love his attitude. They love the don't blink thing. That's like the new thing now. It's great. Even the coaches get behind him. And what's so funny? Him rocking the shirts every game, a different shirt before, and he rocked the Brandon Beane GM shirt. I've never in my life, and I've watched sports all my life, basketball, football, baseball. You tell me one time, I could be wrong, where a player has worn a GM T-shirt.
I can't do it, man. I'm a little young, but I can't do it, man. Through all my years of watching sports, I've never seen it. That's crazy. I haven't seen anybody wear a head coaching shirt, like a head coaching shirt. I haven't seen a player ever wear a head coaching shirt or anything like that. But a GM is out of the world.
Right. Like you gotta love your GM to wear that. And Brandon Beane must God, dude, he must be loving it, right? Like he's feeling the love. Like I'm sure he's already felt it. Obviously, all the players love Brandon Beane, but for him to do that, man, it says a lot. Sonny, are you back? Oh no, Sonny, you're frozen again. We're trying, guys. This is our Alaskan buddy. Oh, what? Wait. No, I don't think tonight's the night, buddy. I think you gotta figure out that internet. Oh wait, no, we tried. Anyways, Sonny, gotta work on your internet, buddy. We gotta get your internet fixed, man. Gotta do it. Because listen, guys, Sonny, he was on, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. Really, he's a newbie to this content game, but man, he brung it, and people seem to like him. Good guy, and you just got to get that internet going, but because people want to hear you, they want to see you. They don't want you frozen in time. So we'll get that fixed, guys. Sonny will be back before you know it. Anyways, let's see here. Coming in with some Dave Buffalo operator. Big game tomorrow, fellas. Yes, and that's what we're getting into right now. So, back to Brandon Beane and what he's done for this team. So, you think that what he did on the defensive lines, and let's go on to the offensive side of things. Do you think Brandon Beane did enough also to get over that as far as that hump going into the playoffs, meaning stay on that role offensively? Because it seems like the offensive line is still kind of stuck on the run blocking, right? Like it still seems the same. And I love Roger Saffold. I love the addition, but it doesn't seem like it did much of anything for run blocking. I kind of feel like Ryan Bates is doing good, but not great. And I kind of feel like Spencer Brown is on a learning curve still. What's your thoughts on the offensive line?
Offensively, I feel like it's stagnant. It's about the same, which is not really a bad thing because you know that when this offense gets going, it's one of the most unstoppable offense in the NFL in pro football.
What's your thoughts?
It's incredible when this offense can get on the road. However, this is an offense that when they really have a down game, I mean they really have a down game. This offensive line, for the most part, inconsistent play, the running game. Once again, it really just depends sometimes on the game. Josh Allen, once again, has to carry everything all on his shoulders, has to create plays, has to be the best running back on the team. My friend Charles, he's a Lions fan as well. He's like, dude, why are you guys not giving the ball to Singletary? Why does Josh Allen have all these rushing yards? And they're using him on the goal line in rushing sense. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like this is just our offense. This is with Gable or Ken Dorsey. Like the philosophy of our offense is just not really changing. I mean, this is an offense that unfortunately Josh Allen's going to have to shoulder it all. He's going to have to shoulder all the responsibility. And it is frustrating because you drafted James Cook in the second round. When you had so many other great players you could have drafted, you decided to draft James Cook, who probably would have won the third round or the fourth round.
Right. And
you took him because you wanted him to be the next J.D. McKissick. Because you couldn't get J.D. McKissick, the Washington team pulled the blender on you. You wanted to get that receiving back, and you barely used him. Now again, he's had his struggles, he's had his fumbles. I understand that, but again, you drafted him for a reason in the second round. This is again, I believe in Super Bowl window opportunities. I believe that if you can't capitalize on a certain time frame and that to potentially utilize everything around you to try to get that Super Bowl, this is not college. The New England Patriots, that was a rarity, right? We haven't seen anything like that since the 70s with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Dallas Cowboys were going to do it in a short time frame within those 5 to 6 years. But what happened after that? Mediocrity, right? No one's going to be like the New England Patriots where they dominate for over 20 years. This is not Alabama. This is not Alabama. It's not Alabama, unfortunately. So we got to utilize this run game. James Cook's got to be more involved. Whether if you're going to use him in the rushing attack or you're going to have to use him in the receiving attack. Devin Singletary needs to get utilized more. I think we need to cut back on Zach Moss because Zach Moss is again. The vision's not there. He doesn't have the agility. He doesn't have the speed. He's got power, but we don't even really use him on the short and distance situations. And even when we do use him, he doesn't benefit for anything. So I think at this point, that's got to be the top priority. Again, I'm not asking Singletary to get 20 carries a game. I'm not asking James Cook to get 20 touches a game. But what I am asking is to, again, increase the usage rate of our run game because there's going to be a point in time, like we saw in the Ravens game, even though we won it, there's going to be a point in time where Josh Allen's not going to have a great game. There's going to be a game where a defensive coordinator is going to figure out how to stop this offense. And when you don't have it, Josh Allen can't be your running game and your passing attack. That's not going to sustain that. What it's been proven so far. That's not going to sustain. Josh Allen he's not going to sustain that from a longevity standpoint. He's just not. When you're taking hits over and over and over again, I don't care if you weigh 270 pounds and run a 4.4. We've seen Cam Newton. We've seen the damage that's been done to him when they make him the entire offense. We've seen the Michael Vicks. Lamar Jackson has been injured when he tries to carry the entire offense, the weight on his shoulders. So we got to do something as far as upping the usage rate of our running attack, and this needs to get fixed. Again, I don't criticize Brandon Breen a lot, but what I will criticize him on is if there are certain areas where needs to be improved, but yet you continue not to add on to it because of what Josh Allen is doing and what this offense has been able to do. Everyone and their mother knew that this offensive line needed to get better. What did you decide to do? You decided to get Roger Saffold, who again made the Pro Bowl last year, but he's 35 years of age playing at guard, who's had injury issues. You get Queensberry, who was a starter for Tennessee, but was one of the worst graded offensive linemen according to Pro Football Focus. And he's kind of been more of a backup for us anyway. So what has really been done for the offensive line? You've gotten backup linemen that looks like it's going to be developed. Maybe they're project players. You don't know if they're going to pan out or not. They're projects.
Yeah.
And again, you said it, Spencer Brown, he continues to struggle at the right tackle. Mitch Morse continues to have injury issues. Deion Dawkins has not been consistent. He's been okay, but he hasn't been consistent. And honestly, that's kind of been my biggest problem with Dawkins over the last 2 to 3 years. So this is an offense that once again, Josh Allen's going to have to take everything into his shoulders. And in the most important moments, that could end up costing us like we saw last year when we went 11-6 with one of the easiest schedules in the league. And we saw that again, we saw that even in the Dolphins game where we had no run game to utilize and Josh Allen had to carry everything on his shoulders.
Yep. My dog's going crazy. She agrees with you. so real quick, where was it? Sonny, who was our co-host, he feels bad because his Saints' his computers. So he's going to fix it, folks. So he'll be back next week. I promise you, Sonny will be on here, but he came in with a super chat. Sonny, I appreciate that. Came with a super chat.
Can I say one more
thing?
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
One more thing.
Yeah.
What happened? Because I noticed there's people in the chat just saying, screw that, keep the ball in Josh Allen's hands. I'm not saying don't take away the ball away from Josh Allen. What I'm saying is and there's going to be a game where he's not going to be a good passer. And what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to give it to Josh Allen? Or are you going to utilize other weapons to open up the passing attack so that because right now, there's no team in the league right now that's respected our run game. What Miami was able to do by playing cover 2 and bracket and pretty much playing bracket coverage, bringing everybody up, that's because they had no respect at all from our run game. Right. They didn't respect anything that was going on for us at all. And again, in the most critical moments, the Kansas City Chiefs, when they won the Super Bowl, was it won because of Patrick Mahomes, or was it because they had a run game that had over 150 yards rushing and was able to open up Patrick Mahomes, who was struggling in that Super Bowl? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, did they win that game because of Tom Brady, or did they win that game because of the rushing attack with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones able to carry the load with their defense? We are close to having the perfect team. And right now, what we're seeing is that we are literally at the cusp of reaching Mount Everest, and it's just not going for us because everything has to be on Josh Allen. And as we've seen before, there has not been a team over the last 20 years that have won a Super Bowl strictly because of one specific player doing all the work. Tom Brady with the New England Patriots had an elite defense, and he always had a ground game. No one talks about the ground game that New England has had. He's never, again, his receivers have been mediocre, but he's always had that ground game, and he's always had that elite defense, and he's always had great coaching. What does Buffalo have right now? A defense that continues to make some improvements, but we are on the cusp of being great to being elite. We have no rushing attack. We got the receivers with an inconsistent offensive line. That is not the recipe right now for winning a championship, and that's why it's a little bit of a concern going into the postseason when we do face against somebody that can match up against us well, because just like how we saw in that Baltimore Ravens game, when we do go against the defense that can match against us well, we tend to struggle. We tend to struggle.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, he was saying he's a big fan of yours, buddy. He's also subscribed to your channel. So hey, Sonny, we appreciate the super chat. And we'll be back. You'll be back next week. Better than ever. I know you will. Yeah, like a job. So Eric's not agreeing. Stop. You act like every time Josh runs, Coach George calls Josh. So here, that's a kind of a good point and kind of not. So here's what I'm gonna say about the O-line. Okay, because you got to keep it real, right? Like so here it is. Like, it's not a hoorah channel, right? This isn't like Bills are the best at every aspect of their game. The offensive line has been a problem. Like that, you can't not overlook that. You have to see what's there, right? You can't put your blinders on. They have not played well for years. This isn't new. This isn't like we've had some injuries and these are some backups in the game. We're like, hey, we're going to get our guys back a couple weeks. We'll be fine. We'll get back on track. Like, these are our guys. This is a starting lineup we have. And what makes it even worse is if one of those guys go down, we're back to playing musical chairs again, just like we've been, because we don't have any even depth at O-line, right? You got Bobby Hart. I mean, guys, Bobby Hart's on the team, right? Ryan Bates, I like. However, I want to see him. And I could be wrong, but I would prefer him to be a center when Mitch Morse retires and go out and get a right guard, either through free agency, a younger right guard, pay him, or in the draft next season, because it's too late now. Listen, finding O-line, it's too late. Finding O-line at this point of the game it's not going to happen unless there's a trade. And who's trading away a good O-lineman? It's not happening, right? Like they just don't come around much. So forget about this season. I will say though, with the addition of Cromer, it will be a positive thing going into next season as far as the draft goes, because hopefully he gets more involved in saying who he wants, because I believe they had to go corner in this draft to start. Like I believe that was a weak spot, especially with Trey White, not returning. And I knew he wasn't going to return week one. It was I know people were optimistic, but I kept telling people, listen, that's a serious injury. Surgery was late December. Very, very few players come back week one. I mean, you have to be a freak athlete like Peterson did it.
You got to be Adrian Peterson who can recover in 3 months.
Exactly. So back to the O-line. I like Saffold, but to his point, Saffold is an aging guy. He's an aging vet. He has his moments where you could see it, like that he's on the decline. It's no secret, right? If he wasn't, the Bills they would have signed him for 2-3 year deal. They signed him a 1 year deal. They know he's a 1 year guy. That's it. He's done. There's no way they're going to re-sign Roger Saffold. More than likely not. Okay. So now you're going to have to get a guard in the future. They're definitely going to have to draft one. If they keep playing this thing where they keep getting 1 year guys in the off season just to fill in a spot and not drafting offensive linemen, it's going to be a problem for many seasons. You have to start protecting one. Forget about the run game. You got to protect Josh Allen. He is your franchise quarterback, your $250 million man. He is everything. He is what's going to win us a Super Bowl. If you have bad offensive line play, he's going to get hurt in time, because Josh Allen, they are decent at pass blocking, but I would say average. They're not good, but they're not bad. I'm going to say they're average. Run blocking, terrible between the tackles. They're okay when you do like a pin and pull, something like that. I will say this: Ken Dorsey has dialed it back a little bit on the Josh Allen runs, but a lot of the runs that you're seeing Josh Allen do is because the protection is getting broke down. The offensive line is getting pushed back into him. Also, if you notice, Josh Allen gets a ton of batted passes. Why is that? Because the offensive line is getting pushed back into his face, and the defensive line is so close to him. 6'5" quarterback shouldn't be getting his passes batted down as much as he has.
He's not Bryce Young or Kyler Murray. He's not 5'10".
Right. So what does that say? They're super close, and they're getting the offensive line is getting pushed back every single play. It's not good, right?
That's a concern.
That's a big concern. So that I agree with 100%. Running game, I that's a huge part, because the running game, the run blocking is bad. So here's what they need to do, in my opinion. And because listen, the offensive line can't be fixed right now. It can't. You're going to have to go with what you got. However, that doesn't mean you just totally abandon the run. So instead of being a run to open up the pass, and I said this last year, pass to open up the run, but sometimes they go away from that motto and they keep passing and keep passing. Third quarter, fourth quarter. That time, and third quarter, fourth quarter is when you should start using Singletary more. He's good. He has good vision. He always makes the first guy miss. Zach Moss, terrible vision. I don't know why they're doing this whole 1 quarter Singletary in, next quarter Zach Moss in. I don't understand the concept of that. It's like frustrating as hell because Zach Moss, to be honest with you guys, Zach Moss totally slows the offense down, because I'll tell you why.
He doesn't fit the offense.
He doesn't fit the offense, one, and defenses have zero. If you think they have, like Jarek said earlier, the defenses, when they play the Buffalo Bills, they know that we're probably not going to run, right? So defenses scheme that. But I will say this: when Singletary's on the field, they got to respect him a little bit more than they do with Zach Moss. It's almost like, oh, Zach Moss is in the game. They're not running it. Or if they run it, we're going to stop him. Like, he's not going anywhere. Like, he's just going to go right into the back of his offensive line, right? It's a waste of a down. It really is. 1st and 10, we'll give it to Moss. He loses 1 yard or gets nothing. Now we're in 2nd and 10. It's a pointless run. It's a pointless play. Throw it out the book. With Singletary in there, I kind of feel like defenses have to give him a little look, right? They do, because he can break it off. He's averaging still 4.6, so he could still get you 4 yards. You know what I mean? So they have to give him a little respect. I think Zach Moss gets 0 respect. So defenses don't respect him at all. And why? And play actions won't work because they know he ain't getting the ball. So I definitely want to see Singletary in there more than Zach Moss has been. I don't understand that. And they need to start running Singletary more and later in the games when defenses are tired. Defenses are already planning for the pass already, right? You can mix in some runs there, and they haven't been. It's like 6 runs, 6 carries, 7 carries. It's not enough for a running back. You got to get Singletary at least 11 carries, I mean, which is nothing. Give him 11 for Christ's sake. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see. But a lot of Allen's runs have been just him taking off because he has no choice. I'll be honest with you. They're not, I don't think they're Ken Dorsey play calls. No, I don't like to. So let me tell you about the 2017 Bills, though. However, I think that was when Richie was still on the team, or was that 20?
That was Richie.
Was that 2017 when we had Shady?
Yeah, he
that
was there for
correct.
Like 2015,
okay.
16, and 17. He was there for all 3
okay.
years.
That offensive line was way different. Yeah, Richie Incognito, who is way physical, who's actually very underrated, by the way. I know he's mentally not all there, but he was very good offensive lineman. Ask Shady McCoy. He opened up massive holes. Way different. If I could transport the offensive line in 2017 to this, I would do it in a heartbeat. You would notice a tremendous difference. Okay, I'm being honest with you guys. Tremendous difference. And I love Deion. By the way, I do like Deion Dawkins, and I think Deion Dawkins is good. I just think he sometimes has these like meltdown where he just like a play or two where he just, I don't know what's happening, you know, and then he'll bounce back and have an overall game. The one guy that's it's not concerning, but needs to really start showing a little bit more is Spencer Brown. I think like this is year 2, bud. You got to start picking it up. I feel like he gets beat a lot on the edge there by faster edge rushers. It's a constant. He needs to do something. Like Cromer needs to work with him a little bit more because I believe in him. I do. I think he's athletic enough to get it right. I just don't know about Bates at right guard. That's why I'm thinking more like he could be our center because he has experience, and that's why you had him in the first place because he is a kind of offensive lineman that can go in any position. And I felt like anytime we ever needed him at center before he went to right guard, he did the job well. And then you're going to have to find a new left guard. I'm sorry, new left tackle with Saffold. So, or guard. I'm sorry, guard. Bring back Conrad Dobler. So anyways, let's get to the game. So we're going to KC. This is our 4th time in a row going to Kansas City. So fourth in a row. 4 o'clock game. And everybody's going to be talking about it 13 seconds. So, you know, the media, everybody, this is the buildup. Do you think the players have that in their mind, or you think they just truly believe this is the next game, the next opponent?
No, I think they got that in their mind. I think they definitely got that in the back. It's hard, like as an athlete, it's hard to forget that moment. That's always going to stick with you for the rest of your life. You know, so they're going to think about that. Again, can we see a completely different Buffalo team? I mean, you know, who knows? I mean, the last year in the regular season, Buffalo dominated Kansas City 38-20. But this is just one of those games where I think you want to take that approach that, okay, you know what, let's not worry about last year. This is just the next game mentality, because this is it's an important game for us. We win this game, then guess what? As far as getting the number 1 seed goes, that gives us an advantage, because you want to play in January in Buffalo. that's going to be incredible, and that's something that last year we did not take advantage of. We went 11-6 with one of the easiest schedules in the league. That was a schedule that we should have at least 3 losses, but most likely we should have went 14-3 and get that number.
I agree. I agree.
Screwed us up was that. So that's one of those situations where I think you definitely want to take this game seriously. You want to win it, but if you do lose this game, of course, everyone's going to talk their crap. Nick Wright's going to talk his crap. I mean, everyone's going to do what they're going to do. Dolphins fans going to celebrate like they just won the Super Bowl again. But it's a game that if you lose, it's like it sucks that you lost this game. But I mean, again, you're going to see this team in January. Sooner or later, you're going to see them in January. And even Casey knows that. They've been saying, we lose this game, doesn't matter. We'll see you in January. So, but you want to see what you got. This is kind of, I'm not going to, call this game like a preseason game, but this is just one of those games that you really want to see who can step up for this game, because, that could be, that player or maybe a unit, maybe the offensive line or the defensive line, or maybe a player that could be a guy that we could rely upon in January. So, again, I would love to see the offensive line get better. I mean, we talked about the interior with Ryan Bates. Guess what? He's going against Jones. He's going against Jones.
Huge matchup. Yeah, huge matchup.
Huge matchup right there. Their linebacking core is great. I think their secondary has shown some improvement, even though, again, Las Vegas was able to do whatever they wanted to with Devontae Adams. But this is going to be a game that's going to be extremely interesting because Bellamy has had some success against Josh Allen in the past. So this is just one of those games that it's going to be interesting to see. And this is Ken Dorsey's first outing going against, going against this type of opponent. This is not Brian Dable. So I know a lot of people are saying, well, we smoked them the last couple of times. Well, Brian Dable's not on the sideline anymore. Now Ken Dorsey, that's going to be in the box. So this is going to be a game to kind of test, to see what he can do against another great team like KC. So, I'm excited for it overall wise. This is a game that, unlike the Bama loss today, this is going to be one of those games where if they do lose, this game, I think it's going to be because the offense is not going to be able to get going. I don't think it's going to be because of Casey's offense is going to beat us. I think it's simply because our offense is just not going to get going, and Casey's defense is going to help them win the game. I think that's going to be it if we do lose. If our offense gets going, I think our defense does do enough because I don't trust Scantling. I don't really trust any of these receivers. I still think that Patrick Mahomes is still trying to build some repertoire with these guys, trying to build chemistry and continuity with these guys. And I don't think you're going to see that until like mid-stretch, late in the season, where that's where you start to see this offense really start to pick up. The only notable name that I would be really worried about, a key guy, is of course Travis Kelce, because he's been tearing us up the last 3 times that we've been playing him. But besides that, I think the only way for us to lose is if our offense gets shut down. Simple as that. I think if our offense gets going, I think that's going to be just good enough for our defense to slow it down. I think we can get the dub. But like I said before, this is a game that you want to win because this increases your odds of getting that number 1 seed. But if you lose it, you kind of got your answer if Buffalo is going to be the number 1 seed or not. And, we'll see them in January.
Right. This game is huge, bro. Preseason, this will decide a tiebreaker with home field, where home field will be. We have to get Mahomes out of Arrowhead. He has never played a single playoff game away. Okay, so in a way, I agree with you, Eric, a little bit there. I understand what you're saying. So here's how I want to see the game, and I'll go with that with your point. We need to play. First of all, you cannot let Mahomes sit back there like he did in the playoffs. You cannot give Mahomes time in the pocket. Mahomes, and I'm not even saying get sacks on Mahomes. I'm just saying put pressure on Mahomes, because Mahomes in general, he don't get sacked often. He really doesn't. Like he make decisions, throw the ball away, whatever he needs to do. He's slippery, man. He gets it's just Mahomes, but he also makes some mistakes when he's under pressure. He does. I've seen it a million times, just like a lot of quarterbacks. But he does. He tries to. He gets a little like Josh Allen sometimes when he's just trying to make something happen out of nothing, right? But with the addition of Von Miller and Gregory Rousseau taking a big step forward, I believe, so far this season, those guys coming around the edge and with the speed, I don't think Mahomes is going to be able to get out on the outside like he was in the past against his Bills defense, right? Also, with the front that we have now with the D-line, totally different than we had last year. It's going to be pushing their offensive line back a little bit. So we're going to have pressure in the middle, and I still think we're going to have the edges on the outside. So Mahomes is not going to be able to just get away from the middle pressure and scoot to the outside like he was in the past. That's one good thing. The other with Kelsey, what I would say is how we played Kelsey the first matchup in 2021 when we beat them. So we play very physical. I think we even had some penalties, which I don't mind. I keep saying it. Like, I don't mind that. Like, don't get too many penalties, but play physical. And I wouldn't even mind seeing Saran Neal in at times matched up with Kelsey, because Saran Neal is a very physical, and he actually played that game against the Chiefs in that matchup we had in the regular season. He played him very well. I thought he played very physical with them. I think he got one penalty, which I'm good with. I am totally good with. Christian Benford, I believe, will be back. Kyer Elam is a physical corner. That's one thing that Levi Wallace wasn't. And he lacks speed, Levi Wallace, as well. Kyer Elam has the speed, even if he gets beat to catch up. Levi Wallace never had that. That was the problem with Levi Wallace. So that part, I believe, is a huge difference between what we saw last season and this season, right? Getting after Mahomes, putting pressure on Mahomes. We couldn't do that in the playoffs. We were like totally lost because once Trey went out, it would change the whole game plan. I believe Frazier totally changed the game plan in that playoff game. He played almost like he didn't believe in. Yeah, and it was like he didn't believe in the personnel, right? I don't think he believed in Levi Wallace, so he played everybody back. They were scared of giving away the big play, right? And all they did was chop us down the field, right? And we couldn't stop them in the red zone. And I will say, in that game, though, I thought the first half our defense did enough, and the offense was just flat, and that's on Dable, right? Because once Matthew went out in that game, it was wide open. It was there. It was there the whole game. But Dable didn't recognize that until the mid-third quarter, and by then we were playing catch-up, and it was just catch-up the whole time. Catch-up. And then our defense totally got lost in the second half. So it was just like we just couldn't back and forth, but because we were playing catch up, we were never ahead. We just couldn't get ahead. So I think this is different. I think Ken Dorsey, he's shown so far this season, and he's still on a learning curve as well, but he's shown so far that he can adjust, and that's something Dable didn't really do too well. He didn't really adjust too well, and I think Ken Dorsey will figure a way in this game, especially against KC younger corners. Their DBs are young. They got chewed up against the Raiders. You got Gabe Davis, who's now at 100%. Gabe Davis totally chewed them up in the playoffs. Gabe Davis had a hell of a game last week. He's a tough. He's more physical. He's faster this season, which is going to give defenses fits. And Stephon Diggs is just Stephon Diggs. And then you got Khalil Shakir, who I think is going to be the surprise of the NFL. I'm telling you guys right now. I'm telling you. Once he gets everything going, he's going to be a problem. And then you got Isaiah McKenzie.
I think he's better than McKenzie. I think he's just a better route runner, just a better technician, a better route runner than McKenzie. He
is. But the problem is right now Josh has to trust him. Like, because Josh, if you never notice, Josh goes to the guys he trusts. That's been on the field with him, right? Like Josh starts to earn like this like trust factor, like with Dawson Knox, right? Last season, started finally going to Knox a little bit more, right? And they started building this chemistry, kind of like Cole Beasley, right? Cole Beasley and him were like whenever there was trouble, right? Who was the guy? Cole Beasley, right? Khalil Shakir will get there in time. I don't think he's there yet because him and Josh haven't really been on the field. But I'm telling you, Shakir, once he gets that down with Josh, once they get that where Josh feels comfortable and knowing that Khalil Shakir will get open, that trust factor, man, it's a wrap. But I believe in this game, Shakir and McKenzie is going to play a role. I really do. I think Josh is going to spread the ball around like crazy this game. I could definitely see well over 40 passes for Josh Allen, well over 40. And I think we beat KC by at least 20 points. I'm going to go 41-21 as my score prediction. Been saying it all week. I think listen, every time I've been saying 20 something, 17 points our defense is going to give up, they've given up way less. The only games I was wrong was the Dolphins game. and the Ravens. I thought they would give up a little bit less points, but they've been doing a phenomenal job. And I think they'll hold their own. I really do. I think KC's a little bit limited on offense. You take Travis Kelce out of the mix, play him physical, put a little pressure on Mahomes. I think it's a totally different outcome. Look how the Colts played them a few weeks back. Totally took him out of the game. They put pressure on Mahomes. They put up 17. They lost 2017. It could be done. You gotta play physical. You cannot play soft against the Chiefs. You can't. And I really hope Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier take chances in this game. Like you cannot, be conservative. You can't go for field goals when we're in the red zone on a 4th and 2. Like you got to go for those plays. You know what I mean? Like you have to. So we'll see. But to what he was saying, Eric, over there, it is an important game, I think, on a couple notes. One, it is something like for the players to feel like, yeah, we can do this. We know we could beat them. We've beaten them now. We also know that what we did in the offseason made a difference, right? So that is a boost of confidence as well for these guys moving forward, especially when they're going to see him again. You know what I mean? I know it's a regular season game, but it has to mean it is a little more important than going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is for a lot of reasons, because you want to know what you did in the offseason made a difference. And if it doesn't, it has to, knock you down a little bit. It has to. Even if you're Brandon Beane, you have to say, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to make a in-season trade? You know what I mean? And speaking of that, real quick, in-season trade. Brandon Beane only done one since I remember, which is Kelvin Benjamin. Did not work out. He's very hesitant on in-season trades. Do you think he's going to make one?
Like I said, the one trade I think we're all looking at is Christian McCaffrey. We're all looking at to see if Beane is going to pull the trigger. I mean, how did LA win the Super Bowl? They decided to go out there and get players in the trade deadline. I mean, you got Odell Beckham Jr. You picked up I think they picked up a couple more players, but the notable name was Odell Beckham Jr. and it was good enough. No, Von Miller. It was Von Miller and it was Odell Beckham Jr. that you picked up in trade, and that helped you win the Super Bowl. So, if now obviously it's costing them now a little bit, but if you want to pull the trigger, I mean, most likely if you give up a first round pick. I mean, you got 30. You're most likely going to get 30 or 31 or 32.
Right.
That's most
exactly. It's a second round pick. Basically,
it's a second round pick. Exactly. It's a second round pick. So it's kind of like, how valuable do you think that first round pick is going to be? Again, what's their asking price for Christian McCaffrey? I think that's the question. I think they're probably going to bargain. But I mean, if we can get it down to a second round pick, that's a steal. Because I'll trade Christian McCaffrey. I mean, like I said, we got McCoy at that age. I mean, we got LaShawn McCoy for I think a second round pick. And what did McCoy do? He gave us 2 years. He gave us 3 years of excellent production.
Sure.
So, why not get a Christian McCaffrey that, I mean, you're going to have an elite you're going to have an elite running back. And most importantly, you have a player that defenses now have to respect the run game, because you cannot take Christian McCaffrey from light. He is one of those dudes that not only does he fit perfectly in this offense, but what he can do in the running attack and the receiving game, you're going to have to respect. So, that just makes our offense more versatile compared to just kind of being a little bit more one-dimensional that we have been over the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I agree. And not only that, like what a lot of people don't know about his contract situation. So listen, if we traded for McCaffrey, I think they were saying it would only be about a $700,000 hit, less than $1 million. It's nothing, guys. It's nothing. And in his contract, we're able to cut him after the season and be done with it, right? So all you lose is a late first round pick. Let's say if they want a first, let's just say hypothetically, which is basically a second round pick anyways, for a potential game changer that could really help us down the stretch, right? I still don't think he's like he's not, listen, with this offensive line, he's still not going to be like, dynamic, but he's going to be better than a Zach Moss. He's going to be better than Singletary. And I love Singletary. I do. But can you imagine Singletary and Christian McCaffrey together on the field? Like, I'll take that all day over Singletary and Zach Moss. Like, Zach Moss ain't going to do it. So trade Zach Moss. Hopefully they would take him. Like, that'd be cool. That'd be part of the trade. I'd be willing to do that. eat
If
up that
anything,
700,000, no problem.
I think if they'll take it, I think it'll be a first and Singletary might have to go. I think they want probably a player that's comparable. I think they even know that Zach Moss is probably not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's
That'd be
like
tough.
if you
That'd be
lose
tough.
Singletary, you got James Cook. You drafted him in the second round.
You do, but James Cook.
You have
Problem
more
is though, Singletary is a good pass blocker, and you would be losing that. The problem with James Cook right now, he's not. He needs to put on weight. That's his problem right now. Lower part of his body, he's really thin, and I believe in the offseason he'll put on. He's going to put on weight. He'll have to, because his contact balance will continue to suffer if he doesn't. And running between the tackles will be a problem, especially with this offensive line. He will get beat up bad. So pass blocking is huge, and you got to put on a little bit of weight. And Singletary does a really good job. Zach Moss too. I got to give him credit. He's a good pass blocker. He does really well on pass blocking. He's just not very good at his vision is just terrible. Mm-hmm. And with this bad O-line, Zach Moss will continue to look really bad. Like if he was on a better offensive line, Zach Moss wouldn't be that bad. You know what I mean? He could hit the holes. He has that power, but he just doesn't have the vision or the elusiveness that Devin Singletary has. And I also too, if you get rid of Singletary, the problem is too, Josh Allen really has a chemistry right now going with Singletary. If you look in the past, I mean, really the later half of last season, the last 5 games, they were really cooking with Singletary. And then if you watch the last 3 games here, Singletary's been like, I think, second receiver best, except for the last game. But the last 2, Singletary was a leading receiver in the Dolphins game, I believe. And he was the second receiver in the Baltimore game, leading receiver. So that means Josh Allen's really starting to get comfortable with him. He's somewhere, and I don't know if Christian McCaffrey come in right away and get the playbook down, Josh feeling comfortable with him right away. You know what I mean? Like that might take a little time. And I don't know if they're willing to get rid of Singletary for that. And Singletary's his last year anyways. Why would you? I don't see what Carolina would benefit from that. They probably will want Zach Moss because Zach Moss still has a couple years left, I think, on his deal. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think they would take Moss over that just because of that alone. It wouldn't make any sense to take Singletary. I mean, I could be wrong, but OBJ is interesting to me. I would definitely do it. And I have a feeling, Jarek, that they're going to do it. I just do. He's due back, I think, late November. The way it's just so weird that Von Miller keeps talking about it, right? And they are close friends, right? Like, why would he continue to speak publicly? It's not like he's even throwing little tiny hints out there or teasing people. He's saying it like OBJ, man, I'm telling you guys, it's like, I don't know. I don't think he would do that. If it wasn't sort of true that OBJ and the Bills are somewhat talking about him coming to Buffalo in November or late December, whenever that, he's ready to go. But I would be all for it depending on the deal, because look what happened to Gabe Davis in practice. He got ankle hurt and he was out and he wasn't the same for 2 or 3 weeks. Any injuries can happen. Look at Isaiah McKenzie, got a concussion in a game. He missed the game, right? So why not have a player like that going into the playoffs that defenses have to look after, right? He's not going to be the same OBJ, but he's a guy that you have to watch, right? I don't know. I would be all for it. I would be, depending on the contract. What's your thoughts, man?
I mean, you want it. I'll take it with no hesitation. The question is probably going to be the asking price. I think it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be tremendous value for OBJ. A lot of teams are going to want him. Tampa Bay's going to be one of those contenders. LA's going to want him back again. Yeah. Yep. He's going to get a lot of value. So the question is what's more important to OBJ? Is it winning a Super Bowl, or is it money at this point? And I think that's kind of more of a moral question. That's something that it's up to him. But I think the best team that's going to give him a chance to win a Super Bowl, I think, is Buffalo. I think it's really between Buffalo. I think Tampa. I think those are the top 2 teams. Kansas City could be in that conversation. They don't have a number 1 receiver yet, so they could be there. In Green Bay, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is desperately needing a number one guy, and he would probably benefit the most by going to Green Bay.
In Green Bay,
because he would get the most targets by far. If he came to Buffalo, he's not getting that many targets here. But if you can get OBJ, now you now have the most stacked receiving position in the league, because now you got Odell, you got Stephon, you got Gabriel Davis, you got Khalil Shakir, you got McKenzie if you want to use him. Jake Kumaro has shown this season that he can. If you need him to step up and be that role, that's fine. Lee Morris is a good backup tight end. That's made some noise. So now you have you now have one of the most deepest receiving cores in the NFL if you're not at Odell Beckham Jr. And that's going to be great. But it's all about what does Odell Beckham Jr. want. I mean, he's
what does he think? Yeah, what does he think is if he's smart to your what you were saying, like if I'm OBJ, I'm saying this to myself. Listen, I get a win. I go get a ring, right? That's what this is all about, right? At the end of the day, right? He wants to go to a winning team. I get a ring. I play well. Go get your contract somewhere else after this. Show what you're worth. Von Miller did it with the Rams. There's no difference. Yeah. Von Miller went there, got paid to play what? He won a Super Bowl. He was only there for a short amount of time, and he got a huge contract. Right. And he's aging. It wasn't like this was a young Von Miller. Von Miller got paid. Right. Von Miller also had injuries that kept him out for full season. Right. So, like, it's not like it's almost identical. Right. When you're talking about Von Miller, OBJ situation, OBJ smart. So if I'm OBJ, I get on the field. I take a reasonable contract, and you get paid after the season. Then you go, hey, look what I did. Short amount of time. I was there, 2 months. I got a Super Bowl. I was dynamic, whatever. His agent will do that, pay me now. Now I want to get paid. You know what I mean? Buffalo's not going to pay him after. They can't afford it. But that's fine. Buffalo got what they wanted. That's it. So I would be all good for it. But like you said, it's up to him, what he feels. But if Green Bay is willing to pay him. I get, take it.
I think it's up to three teams. I think it's Green Bay. I think it's Green Bay. I think it's Tampa. I think it's Buffalo. I think those are the top three options. And it's really it's kind of like, what do you want? If you go to Green Bay, you're going to get the most targets. You're going to be the number one receiver if you go to Green Bay. If you go to Kansas City, you're going to get a lot of targets because there's no number one receiver in KC. The number one guy is Travis Kelce. There's no number one guy there. He'll be the number one guy there in Kansas City. If he comes to Buffalo, that's the best team that can give you a championship ring just based off of roster. Again, we all know Kansas City, they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. We all know this. But Buffalo, from a roster standpoint, they have the best roster in football right now.
Yeah.
They
got the deepest too.
You got the defense, they got the offense, and they damn for sure got the depth. They're deep everywhere. The question is, though, what do you want as Odell Beckham Jr.? Do you want to try to go for targets and try to get as much money as possible, or do you want to risk it going to a team to Buffalo where you're most likely going to get a ring and you're going to get catches? This is a passing offense. This is not a rushing offense at 100%. All. You're going to get touches.
Yep.
The question is, do you start or do they kind of mix him in the offense more as a rotational piece? And where do you line him up at? Because he can line up out wide, you can line him up in the slot.
Yeah.
He's versatile. So, kind of where does it go there? So again, it's more morals. Like, what do you want? Do you prefer more targets, or do you prefer going to a team that's going to get you to a championship, but you're still going to add value?
Yeah, I agree. That's something he's going to have to sit back and really think about, because I guess I get it on both sides of the fence, right? I understand you want to get paid as well. It's a physical sport. Anything can happen. I mean, look, he suffered a torn ACL, right, in the Super Bowl. So, and he signed with them late. You get what I mean? So, like, in the back of his mind too, he could be thinking the same thing. Man, what if I take a cheapy contract and I wind up getting hurt again, and now I'm out. Now I mess up a future contract somewhere else, right? Now I gotta rehab again. Like, I'm sure all that stuff goes in their mind. Like, what's his value? What's his worth? But he's gonna have to make a decision eventually, and I think he will. And I think Buffalo is one of his major targets. And I just don't think, like I said before, I don't think Von Miller would be so out, like, talking about it. And I don't think Brandon Beane let's say like if they weren't, I'm sure by now Brandon Beane would have been like, hey, Vaughn, it's not like chill out. You know what I mean? It's not gonna, we're not interested. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If that was the case, like I would assume he's wearing his t-shirt, he's rocking Brandon Beane. You would think they have this, like they're on the same page. If a player's talking about another guy coming to play for your team, that Brandon Beane is saying something to that player. Like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with you saying. It has to be. Because I remember even Jordan Phillips was bringing up Shaq Lawson before Shaq Lawson even signed with the Buffalo Bills in the offseason. Remember? Shaq, go ahead, man. Come on, man. Sign the paper. Remember? Shaq Lawson wound up signing like 2 days later. Shaq, in a way, Jordan Phillips broke that. Was pretty much saying Shaq Lawson is going to come to Buffalo. And I know there's two different things, but he still said it, So I just don't think Von Miller would be so outgoing on this topic if there wasn't some kind of talks, is all I'm saying. So it's interesting. It is. But as far as in-season trades, the McCaffrey thing, like I said, is interesting. I feel like if that trade doesn't happen, though, I still see some trades, but I don't know if they'll be big ones. Like that's the big one, but I don't see anything else. I would see like more like depth pieces, adding another offensive line, maybe a defensive lineman, like just a corner, maybe. Safe, just some help more than anything. A guy that come in and help out a little bit, low contract, maybe a rookie, a guy on his rookie deal still. But I don't see any big moves if it's not the McCaffrey. I just don't. I don't know who else is out there. I got to see. But you got to remember, a lot of these guys come with contracts. The only reason the Christian McCaffrey thing's interesting is because they'll eat a lot of it, and there's a way out of it. You're not stuck with them. You can cut them. Cut them right after this. You're eating up $700,000. Nothing. That's nothing. That would be like basically signing him for $700,000. That's a steal. And losing a second-round pick. Yeah, that's not, guys.
I'm not going to feel bad. He got his money. He's good to go.
Yeah, he's good to go. And listen, forget about the first round. First round pick's basically a second round pick. That's one. And two, Brandon Beane's been killing late round draft picks anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not like we've been suffering in the late picks.
The controversy is our first 2 to 3 draft picks. That's the controversy. Is like, can we draft? I mean, we just don't really draft that well. I mean, obviously Josh Allen, but Ed Oliver,
Tremaine Edmonds.
Has he really played like a first round pick? I mean, Tremaine Edmonds, solid player, but has he really played like a up to that value?
I think so. So Edmonds is, So Edmonds is. I'm not so critical on Edmonds like a lot of people. I think Edmonds came in super young, super raw, right?
I don't.
There's some college. Right.
Yeah, I don't think
I agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you.
That's why, because I'm looking at Darius Leonard and Roquan Smith as two guys that, if you really wanted a natural kind of middle linebacker type of guy, you could have just drafted Roquan Smith or Darius Leonard.
Yeah.
Which I made my video like years ago. I said if there's one dude that fits Buffalo's defense perfectly. Might not be the most talented, but it's Darius Leonard. And then, but they decided to go with more of a project guy who is one of the best blitzing linebackers in college that year, who that's what Virginia Tech mainly use him as. And now you want to transform him to be, and to be fair, Tremaine, he's doing the best he can. I mean, he's getting better.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's not a Mike. He's a guy that you want to use all around, like how Dallas uses him. Again, Penn State, they didn't use Micah Parsons, a pass rusher on the outside. He was primarily a middle. He was primarily a Mike. He was a Mike. He wasn't even a weak. He was a Mike. He was the play caller of that defense. But as soon as Dallas got him, they played him there. Didn't really work out that much in the preseason. He was making plays, but they didn't utilize him that well until they decided, okay, you know what, Micah, we noticed that you can blitz really hard and no one can stop you. Go, we're gonna test you out. And we're gonna play you like Lawrence Taylor. Go out there outside, do what you can do. And Micah Parsons is where he's at right now. I think the same thing could be with Tremaine. If you can just use him as a blitzer, extra pass rusher on the outside, that dude's gonna be an all-pro player. But
I've been saying that. Like I don't understand why they don't send Edmonds, even Milano, for more blitz packages. If they get home, 90% of the time they get home. And they just don't do it. They very rarely blitz Edmonds. And he is, let me tell you, Edmonds is a freak athlete, bro. That dude has speed. That dude is powerful. He's gotten way better in tackling. And Milano obviously is playing way beyond his contract. Like Milano is a freak. I don't get why they don't send. They just don't. I don't understand that. And I actually would love to see Edmonds at edge. Like I think Edmonds would. I just want to see it. I think he would. I think he would play way better on edge. I think he would. I think he would be a problem for offensive linemen, especially if he like really worked at it. Meaning they got with him. They off season. How to be a better edge. Work that line, but. Yeah, man. Like he's a physical, gifted, young athlete, younger than some college kids. Still, it's crazy. But no, listen, he's led our team in tackling. He's also calls the plays on defense since his rookie year. I mean, that has to tell you something. It means he's a smart dude. His tackling is gotten way better. So no, I think he's lived up to that for sure. I think he's a first round. Ed Oliver right now, I think he's getting better. It just the ankle injury kind of set him back, which sucks. But I be
Aaron Donald.
You
don't draft a defensive lineman in the top 10 unless you want a guy that can give you double. That can give you a lot of sack numbers. He's just
he'll never be. Yeah, he never will be. Yeah, but I hate the comparison because he'll never be that's a dude. Aaron Donald is just a beast. Like that's. It's just like
you want him. You want a Christian Jones. You want a Garrett. You want a Garrett from Atlanta. I mean, you want that. You want those dudes.
Yeah.
But
I think Oliver might get there event. Not maybe on their level, but I think he can get there to be a problem for offensive linemen. He's not there quite yet, but he's also young. Like I'm not gonna really say he's any kind of bust or anything. He's actually. I felt like he's improved every season with us. To be honest with you. And who else was that? I will say somebody mentioned in the chat the 3rd round pick, our linebacker.
That was a win. I'm sorry.
That pick was a head scratcher on draft day. And he looked okay in preseason, but look, he's not even on the field. Like he's doing nothing.
He's a special teams player.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's what he's gonna be. I felt like James Cook was a reach. And I know a lot of you guys like James Cook, but he would have been there in the 3rd. I promise you, maybe even the 4th. I'm serious. Like there was no need to draft James Cook there. And now there really wasn't at that. You could have got some other value at that pick. There were so many.
White in the 3rd if you wanted to.
I mean, there was a lot. You could have. So we'll see. Maybe it works out. You know what I mean? And we're talking in a couple seasons, me and Jarek can say, man, hey, we were wrong. And I always eat crow if I'm wrong. Always. Like I am not the guy like, I'll tell you if you're bad. Yeah. Oh, see, I was all for Josh Allen, by the way.
I wasn't saying he was going to be a bust, but I was that one player. I'm like, I don't know if he's. I can't see 35. I cannot see 3,500 yards or I don't. He's more of a 3,300 yard guy, maybe a 59% completion. 20. I was that guy because I'm like I was getting impatient because that 2019 season we had I think we had the best defense in football because our offense was just not that good.
Rough.
It was way too overrated. And even though we had a lot of come from behind wins, the defense was the reason why we won that game, not because of our offense. And I'm like, dude, if we could just have the offense we had in 2020 or 2021, we're winning the Super Bowl. If we have that diffense was incredible. They're not talked about. They're not really appreciated, but that's why
I was. You know why I was for Josh Allen because I saw obviously I saw how he got to that point. In getting drafted where he was drafted, what led him there. I thought his size, obviously, his arm strength, he was mobile in college, so there was a lot of good. I kind of saw the more about the ceiling, right? And I knew we were on a rebuilding anyways. And I kind of knew like, all right, you know what? We have the time to work with this kid. And he has all the, the tools. It's just we need to put it all together, right? To make that work. And what worked about it, and what maybe surprised me, like people like you, initially was you probably, of course, we don't know Josh Allen personally, but you didn't know his work ethic. You didn't know his like desire to get better, right? Because he's the one that went out and got with Jordan Palmer. He's the one that went out and changed his mechanics, right? He didn't have to. The Bills didn't tell him, hey, I need you to go do this.
It was rare. It's Josh
rare.
Allen
It doesn't happen
right
a
now.
lot.
Yeah,
yes.
what he's doing, it's rare. You don't see it happen. You don't
not
see
with
it
quarterbacks.
happen.
Usually they are what they are, especially with especially with completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if they're bad in college, they're not gonna. They don't get much better in the NFL. Very rare does that happen. Josh Allen, I think he shocked everybody in 2020, and I know. Trust me, almost everybody in national media, other fans were like, "Watch, Josh Allen in 2021 is going to go back down to what he was in 2018, 2019, back to bad completion percentage. That was just a fluke." I heard that over and over, and I knew it wasn't. Like you could tell that he was trying to work better to get better to improve his mechanics. I didn't see it. Why would he degrade? It wouldn't even make any sense. And look, 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if not better, right? I mean, especially in the playoffs. So no, man, he's a guy that wants to win. He's a guy that will do anything to win, like pretty much. He has all the tools. And I still don't think he's there. I still don't think he's reached the ceiling yet. He's still kind of like going through stuff and getting better. You know what I like a lot this year, Jarek, that he's doing a lot better at? Taking what's given to him instead of forcing everything downfield. He is now like, okay, it's not there. He's going through his progressions. 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, Devin Singletary. It's not open. Khalil Shakir. He's not forcing it always downfield. He's not forcing it to one guy. That's why you're starting to see a lot of guys get receptions on this team now. It's not just Stephon Diggs, right? Now it's Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, Khalil Shakir, right? Dawson Knox, Devin Singletary. He never used to pass to the running backs. Very rare in 2018, 2019, even 2020. Very rare. Now he's going to Singletary so much more. Why? It's there. He's taking what the defense is giving him. Never used to do that. When plays break down, he's not, throwing the ball in heavy traffic. He's either throwing the ball away and living for another down, or he's running out of bounds. He's playing a lot smarter is what I'm trying to say. So he's improving it seems like almost every week. It seems like he's learning something, taking what he learned from the week before and just getting better. And that's why I love Josh Allen, man. I do. It just, but I will say to your point way earlier on the show, the offensive line has to get better because he will turn into a Cam Newton. I hate to say that to you guys. I hate it. I don't want that. But you got to remember, for all y'all don't know about Cam Newton back in the day he was awesome. The dude was built like a Greek god. He was that guy flipping over people in the end zone, right? He was giving up his body. He was running people over. He had a cannon of an arm. And you saw what happened through his career.
The most upside I think I've ever seen on a quarterback. You're never going to see a 270-pound quarterback that runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
That's bigger than everybody. He's running everybody over. I mean, you're never going to see a quarterback like that ever again. He was a true rarity. And look how Carolina treated him.
Yeah, look how Carolina treated him, and he just didn't. I kind of almost felt like he was just going to. He was doing the Josh Allen thing, but all the time, like just he was going to do whatever it took to win, sacrifice his body, and bro, I don't care how big you are, how chiseled you are, you're getting hit by big dudes, bro. You're taking punishment over and over and over throughout a season. And you saw what happened. I mean, he didn't make it too long. He didn't. He broke down. He physically broke down. Mentally, just like any athlete that was awesome he still thinks he has it. And you see that no team will even give him a chance to be a backup. Like, I mean, he's done. And I think he realizes that maybe now. But I don't want Josh Allen ever getting there, is what I'm saying. Josh Allen needs to get a better offensive line. And when Josh Allen takes off, he has to start sliding a little bit more. I don't mind once in a while him, but there was even plays last week where he just would not. Like, I'm like, Josh, it's 5 yards, bro. Like, it's cool, man. Like, he just ran for 25. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need the extra 5. Like, I love it, but at the same time, I need you healthy, bud. I don't want you getting hit, man. Not only that, too, I want to say, not only that, NFL's getting super picky on the concussion thing. Super picky now after the Tua thing, right? If they see Allen, if Allen even gets messed up a little bit, they might pull him and he may not come back or miss a playoff game. Do you want that for an extra 3 or 4 yards? I don't want that. So he has to dial back too as well. He has to start sliding a little bit more, getting down a little earlier.
Yeah.
Cam Newton was never as accurate as Josh Allen. Had one. No, that's not true. He was good for a little while, man. I'm not going to say that. He was an MVP, I believe, 1 year. Went to the Super Bowl, lost, but whatever, he made it there. And he carried
that offense. I want to say how good Cam Newton was in 2015. He was.
I'd have to. Yeah. I'd have to look up his stats. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Steve Smith, right? Steve Smith came there a little bit with the.
Nope.
No.
It was Philly Brown, and it was it was somebody because he was Steve Smith was in Baltimore, so it was
okay.
He had Steve Smith for 2 years, and that was it. Besides that, his entire career, he's never had a number one receiver. The best receiver he's had was Philly Brown. That's the best. Greg Olsen.
That's not good.
But that 2015 year, man, my God, I mean, he had 3,800 passing yards. He had over 30 passing touchdowns. He had over close to 15 rushing touchdowns. I mean, it was that year was incredible what he was able to do carrying that offense. But
but he had more than just 2015. He played very well for
his rookie year. He threw for 4,000 yards, rushed for close to 20. He had had over 15 rushing touchdowns again. He had one of the best rookie seasons we've ever seen, ever.
Yeah,
from a quarterback.
I will say though, as far as accuracy goes.
No, he's not. He's not the most accurate.
Yeah. I agree with you there, 100%. I think Josh Allen. If Josh Allen didn't do what he did, then he'd be on the Cam Newton accuracy level, right? But the fact that Josh Allen went out and corrected some things that he was doing wrong. That, by the way, wasn't. You got to remember, Josh Allen went to Wyoming. We didn't have the best coaching staff in the world to help Josh Allen improve his quarterback skills. You know what I mean? Like, you get into the NFL, you start getting guys that know what they're talking about and linking up with people that know exactly what's going on will help a lot. So you saw it with Josh and
I forgot. Yeah. So Revy's. Yeah. So he had Kelvin Benjamin for like a short time.
Oh, that's right. He did have. Yeah. Kelvin actually had a good year with.
Like I think 2 years. 2 years.
Okay. Great point. Kelvin Benjamin, we all know too well, had I think 1,000-yard season. I think too, back to back with Cam Newton. That tells you everything you need to know. Everything you know right there. Because Kelvin Benjamin, come on, guys, Kelvin Benjamin. Like he is not very good, but Cam Newton made Kelvin Benjamin. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin was not a great route runner. Kelvin Benjamin was Des Bryant. He was a more lesser version of he was a bigger version, but he was more of he was not a good route runner. He was a type of guy that's used in red zone situations, and he was just a big body.
A bigger guy, just get up and get the ball. That's it. Slows, not very fast either. Well, guys, everybody in the chat, Amy. Spin, Mike, Beth, Scott. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but I appreciate you coming on tonight. Once again, I was just filling in for Jason. So he should be back next week. And Jarek was kind enough to join me tonight. So Jarek, man, I appreciate you once again, man. You were a lifesaver. And guys, let's go get this dub tomorrow, and get this bye week that's much needed. Get some rest and get some guys healed up even more, right? And other than that, man, go Bills. Any last words, Jarek?
No, man, just let's see if we can get the W, man. But if not, it's not the end of the world. But let's go ahead and hopefully let's not have a repeat of last year or of January or even what I just witnessed today. Because Tommy, you thought January was bad. I swear today was worse, just worse. So I'm hoping we're not bad. It was way worse than January. Maybe not for Bills fans, but for me, it was way worse. So let's not.
I hear you.
Yeah,
we don't want to give you too many heartbreaks.
Yeah, please.
Let's
do it. Let's get a clean win.
Yep. All right. Hey, go Bills, Jarek. Yep, go Bills. Bills Mafia #1. You guys are the best, man. Appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Post game, right after the game, I go live. So I will be on here, win or lose. We're gonna get the dub though. Peace out. Go Bills. Peace.